How to crochet the crocodile stitch.
You start by tying your yarn onto your crochet hook, and we're going to chain 22. Row 1 begins with a double crochet into the 4th chain from your hook. You don't count the loop on your crochet hook, that's your working loop. So counting back 4 chains will be 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to double crochet into that 4th chain from our hook. Yarn over, insert your hook in the specified chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Chain 1, skip 2 chains, and double crochet in the next chain. Chain 1, skip the next 2 chains, and work 2 double crochets in the next chain. Chain 1, skip the next 2 chains and 1 double crochet in the next chain. Chain 1, skip the next 2 chains and 2 double crochets in the next chain. Chain 1, skip 2 chains and single crochet. Chain 1, skip 2 chains and double crochet in the next chain. Chain 1, skip 2 chains and 2 double crochets in the last chain. This is what the end of row 1 should look like. Okay, row 2 begins with a chain 1. And now we're going to work around the post of the first double crochet, working 5 double crochets around the post. Now we're going to chain 3, then turn our work, fold row 1 so that only the next double crochet we want to work into is at the fold, and work 5 double crochets. Okay, so we've now worked 5 double crochets around the first post, chain 3, 5 double crochets around the next post, and we're now going to single crochet into the top of the next double crochet in row 1. Okay, so this is what the front side of row 2 looks like after our first crocodile stitch, and here's what the wrong side of row 2 looks like. So you can see we definitely have our first crocodile stitch. So we're going to turn it back to row 2 facing. So we've just done our last single crochet in the top of the double crochet, and now we're going to turn our work, folding row 1 in half so it's the first double crochet of the 2 positioned together that's at the fold, and we're going to work 5 double crochets around its post. Chain 3. Now turn our work again and fold row 1 in half again so that now we have at the fold just the next double crochet, and work 5 double crochets around its post. Okay, turn our work back so that row 2 is facing us, and work a single crochet into the next double crochet. right into the top of the stitch. Okay, so this is what the next stitch looks like from the front of row 2, and if we turn our work, you can see we now have 2 crocodile stitches complete. So now we're going to repeat this across the row, working a crocodile stitch over the next 2 double crochets. Okay, we're at the end of our row with our last 2 double crochets sitting next to each other, so we're going to work 1 more crocodile stitch. Okay, so here's the right side of row 2 at the end of the row, and here's the wrong side of row 2 at the end of the row, and you'll see we have 4 crocodile stitches at the end of row. Row 2 begins with a slip stitch into the center of the first crocodile stitch and a chain 4, which counts as a double crochet chain 1. We're now going to work 2 double crochets into the single crochet on the previous row. Chain 1, and a double crochet into the center of the next crocodile stitch. Chain 1, 2 double crochets in the next single crochet. Remember, the single crochet is the short stitch in between the 2 crocodile stitches, so it's pretty easy to recognize. Chain 1, double crochet into the center of the next crocodile stitch, chain 1, 2 double crochets in the next single crochet, chain 1, and 1 double crochet in the center of the next crocodile stitch. And this is what the end of row 3 should look like. Notice that we have only 3 sets of 2 double crochet, whereas we had 4 sets of 2 double crochet in row 1 to create 4 crocodile stitches in row 2. And now we have 3 sets of double crochet together because we're going to do 3 crocodile stitches on row 4. And that's how we get this offset pattern that you see in a crocodile stitch, and kind of what gives it its name. It's an offset scale. So for every other crocodile stitch row, rows 2 and 4, every time you repeat them, you're going to have 4 and then 3 offset in the centers between them, then 4, then 3, and so on. This is what the end of row 3 should look like. Row 4 begins with a chain 1, turn our work, and single crochet into the top of the first double crochet. We're now going to work a crocodile stitch over the next 2 double crochets. So we're going to turn our work and fold our work in half so that the next double crochet is at the fold, and it's the only stitch that you're working through when you work 5 double crochets around its post. Chain 3. Now we're going to turn our work again so that it's the next double crochet on row 3 that we have at the fold, so that we can work 5 double crochets around its post. Okay, and then we're going to come back around with this double crochet by itself in the row below, and we're going to work 1 single crochet. And I'm going to turn our work now so you can see the back side of row 4, which is where the crocodile stitches present themselves, and see how this one is centered in between the 2 stitches on the row below, or the 2 rows below, so that we have that offset scale effect. So now we'll come back to our work, and we'll work another crocodile stitch over the 2 double crochets that are sitting next to each other on the row below. So we'll turn our work, fold it in half, so that only the next double crochet we want to work into is at the fold, and work 5 double crochets around its post. And now you're working from the top of the work towards the bottom of the work. Chain 3. So now when I say the bottom of the work, we're positioned ourselves towards the rows below, or the scales below. And now we'll turn our work again so that we can fold the work so that the next double crochet is at the fold, and it's the only stitch we'll be working into. And now we're going to be working from the bottom of our work back up to the top, working 5 double crochets around the post of this stitch. And single crochet into the next double crochet that sits by itself. And we'll turn our, here's what our work looks like right now. And then we'll turn it around so you can see that our scales are beautifully centering themselves over the scales on the previous row. And we'll go ahead and finish up this row. We're now going to work another crocodile stitch over the 2 double crochets that are sitting together. Chain 3. And single crochet into the top of the double crochet on the row below. Remember that row started with a chain 4, so the double crochet portion would be the top of the 3rd chain, and we did a single crochet into it. This is what the end of row 4 should look like from the back side of the work, or from the way the front of row 4, but that would be a wrong side row because this is the right side of the work. And you can see that now we have 2 sets of scales. The first set of scales on row 2 has 4 scales. The next set of scales on row 4 is 3, and that's how they offset. So now I'm going to show you how we get started on row 5 and go back to having 4 scales on row 6. Row 5 begins with a chain 3, which counts as a double crochet, and we're going to work a second double crochet in that same stitch, which is the edge of our last scale worked. Chain 1, 1 double crochet into the center of the next crocodile stitch, chain 1, 2 double crochets in the next single crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet in the center of the next crocodile stitch, chain 1, 2 double crochets in the next single crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet in the center of the next crocodile stitch, chain 1, and 2 double crochets in the last stitch on the outside edge of the work, which is the last double crochet on the side of the last crocodile stitch. So now you'll see that we have 4 sets of 2 double crochet sections, which is what we will need to repeat row 2 and getting 4 scales again. This is what the end of row 5 should look like. Row 6 is a repeat of row 2, and so we start with a chain 1 and working around the posts of these first 2 double crochets, working our first crocodile stitch. Okay, so this is what the end of row 6 should look like, and then with the right side of the work facing, you can see that we've now created another set of 4 scales that offset again. We're going to be repeating rows 2 through 5 for the pattern, so you could continue on and make this a really unique and beautiful scarf by just repeating rows 2 through 5. Remember that The row we just did, row 6, was our first repeat, so row 6 is a repeat of row 2. Then 3 will be a repeat of, 6 is a repeat of 2, so 7 would be a repeat of 3, and so on and so forth, just repeating rows 2 through 5 throughout, so that you'll be creating offset scales of 4 to 3, 4 to 3 over the 4-row repeat. If you have any questions, by all means, please leave them for me in the comments below, and there will be a link to the pattern for this with all the line-by-line instructions in the video description box below.
Please subscribe to my channel for more videos.